Our great panel today, we have Dr. Keith Ablow, who of course is a psychiatrist, Joanna Greenwald is a former prosecutor, and Gil Alba is a former NYPD detective. Gil, let me start with you. So it seems to me the judge put a very high bail on this case because he assumed that nobody in her immediate circle is going to be able to get her out.
Right.
That also tells me that he was a little nervous about how much evidence they had in this case, and so far they're not bringing forth enough evidence to hold her there other than this bail, right?
Well, you know, if she gets out, I like that CYA.
Yeah.
That means that she gets out. Could she take off? And if she could take off, why not law enforcement saying, okay, you're going to take off, I'm going to have somebody there watching you 24/7. So if I was in law enforcement with them, I would have a female police officer at her house 24/7 with her.
But if they had evidence against her, they wouldn't need, they wouldn't need to go through this process. They could charge her with charges that would stick.
Here's what's happening with this case. I mean, it takes time to put a case together.
Right.
You go chronologically, you put everything together. And they have a certain rhythm to these cases. So you have a guy with a large ego who thinks he can get her out of jail, talk to her, and having confessed to her. I don't really, that's shortcutting.
He's not talking to her. But one quick legal question for you. Is there any way to sort of reassess the situation and raise her bail and make it insurmountable?
Absolutely not. She has her charges. She's been charged with a felony and a misdemeanor that they have been able to substantiate in order to hold her in jail with what the appellate division has held an appropriate bail. Unless they find anything more at this point, and with DNA results or whatever, to charge her with additional charges, nothing is changing. And as far, unfortunately, I don't agree with you, Gil. She's not talking to any bounty hunters, to anybody else. She has an attorney.
Right.
They think they could elicit something. They're not getting anything. She has an attorney for a reason. And as well, she's not going anywhere outside if she's released to her house.
Yeah,
they'll have an ankle bracelet.
Yeah, exactly.
She'll be staying there. And that's it. This is the worst thing that could be happening for a prosecutor.
Let me go to Keith. Keith, the bottom line here is, what does Casey know?
Well,
and how can someone get her to tell what she knows?
Well, not this way. This just emboldens someone. This is a step toward freedom. It allows her to organize her thinking. She's in familiar surroundings. So this no pressure. This isn't going to crack the case wide open. And don't dismiss the impact of this turning into an entertainment event. Right, so now we have a TV personality who's propelling a little bit of his own fame in this. She can feel emboldened. If there is, at core, certain antisocial traits that she has, they will be brought out more by this. She's getting a little famous, more famous now.
You know what, Gil, we talked about this, and you said if I could just get in a room with her and talk to her, I think I could get this out of her. Nobody's been able to get her to crack.
Yeah, because she's got a lawyer now. Once she has a lawyer, I'm agreeing with you. You can't talk to her. There's no way this lawyer's going to let her talk. By the way, I think he's involved with these guys, isn't he?
There was some connection. A friend introduced these people to him.
Right, so he's not going to let anybody talk to her. So it's really not the point that you're going to talk to her and is she going to give something. However, she could talk to somebody. She could talk to somebody on her phone. I'm sure they have her phones tapped, everything. They're going to listen to everything. And she may make a mistake at some point.
But what's actually very important, though, is when she's in jail, when she was talking to an attorney, because this is being treated as a missing person case, actually attorney-client privilege is not that strong. They could eavesdrop in on an attorney talking to their clients when they're in jail. So they could still listen in on her conversations if they have wiretaps or things like that, except the pressure will not be on her.
Yeah.
They can't place...
But that's what we need. We need to find a situation
pressure
where the pressure is on her. Everyone said, oh, her family could break her down. That didn't succeed. Now this bail bondsman says, I'm just going to, eat with her. I'm going to be with her all the time. I'm going to get her.
I'll live with her.
Who can get this information out of her? Because everybody knows that Casey knows what happened.
A confidential informant who was next door could have done it.
But if it didn't happen in jail, if it didn't happen with the kind of questioning that occurs in jail, if she is the kind of person who can withstand that, it is not going to happen now just because she's at home and feels like she should let
I agree with
it's comfortable.
She is a sociopath. To me, she could lie about anything and she believes it. So to talk to her and have something on her, I don't think that's going to work because she already knows she could fool the system. She's way ahead of who's ever interviewing her. So you really can't just ask her those questions. You got to almost talk to her.
So you need to bring her up on the charges that are already brought against her and use that period of time to keep cracking this case.
But the confidential informants that they usually place right next door in jail, that's where they bond. They talk about it when they're in jail. When you have someone right next to you, late night conversations, don't think that they're not listening in. So they actually purposefully place an informant right next door. They don't have that luxury if she gets out. So if she was going to break and talk to someone that's on the same line, did the same thing right next to her, not happening now because all she has is her parents, and we all know she's not seeing her parents anymore. She's not talking to her brother. It's over.
Pulling the wool over their eyes in a lot of ways over the course of all these years. All right, we're up against a break. We're going to talk about this a lot more. We'll be right back with more on the Live Desk.